Please welcome Kevin Sorbo to the show.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
Good to be here. Thank you so much.
It's so great to have you.
Thank you.
And just like you said in your video, you know, so many people wouldn't think of someone as fit, without any of the risk factors that would suffer a stroke. You don't just seem like the typical, usually you think of someone who's maybe overweight or has diabetes. That's like your typical person. But just like you said, it happened to you.
And I had the signs there. And I was having all these throbbing pains and very strange sensations down this arm. These 3 fingers were ice cold, and it was bugging me for about 6 weeks. And I called my doctor in LA, and he said, well, I did a lot of my own stunts, and I was a lot of fight scenes. And he said, you may have smashed your ulnar nerve. And that has that same sort of reaction when it's going through. But when I got back to LA, it was just driving me nuts. And that's when I went to see him. And he found a lump in there. And he said, I'm going to have to biopsy that. I could tell he was nervous about it. And I'm blowing it off again, and I went to work out the gym. And I lived in Santa Monica, so Venice Gold's Gym was my second home. And I couldn't even pick up anything off the dumbbell set, this huge pain. And I went to see my chiropractor. He had never, ever cracked my neck, because he knows I don't like my neck cracked. I'm laying there on the table, and I hear a voice inside my head say, do not let him crack your neck. I thought, that's so weird. I opened my eyes, I looked at him and said, did you say something? I didn't say anything. Close my eyes again. Again, the voice comes, do not let him crack your neck. And I said, why am I hearing this voice? Because he's never cracked it. Boom, he cracks it. I get on the road, and as we showed here, within 2 minutes down the road, I suffered the first 2 strokes. And I was in total denial. I knew something horrible obviously had happened. I didn't want to admit to it. By the time I actually did get to the hospital, this was an aneurysm in my left subclavicle that had exploded. This arm was completely blue. They thought they might have to amputate the arm. And one of the strokes, the 4 strokes I had, the one dissolved in my brain, luckily. The one dissolved was the speech one. But 2 of them in my balance center were there, and the third one was in my vision. I lost 10% of vision in both eyes.
When hearing about your story, it's interesting because it almost sounds like you had 2 separate things going on, because what's so interesting about your symptoms of stroke, and I'm really glad you mentioned all of these in your video. I think it's really important for everyone to pay attention to this. Strokes aren't always one side of my body is numb. You had a classic symptoms of what we call posterior circulation stroke, where we call them the Ds: dizziness, dysarthria, which is broken speech, disequilibrium. You said you were unsteady.
Oh, yeah.
Drop attacks. You said in the video, I felt like I was just going to fall.
Yeah.
And so those are very different because it supplies a different region of your brain, the posterior part of your brain. And I don't know what caused it. I wasn't there, but
2 of the neurologists believed because where the aneurysm was located in my left subclavicle, that it was so close that the crack forced a couple of the strokes to act like salmon and basically go upstream. And it has been proven, even without an aneurysm there, that crack of the neck can cause strokes.
So they think the clot may have gone backwards?
Because the violence of the move just forced a couple of them to go up that way. Because
So
I've
you
done
were
so many
dealing-
CAT scans, and they did the angio through the heart, pumped me full of Coumadin and heparin and all these blood
Did they ever
thinners.
figure out why you had the clots?
Well, the aneurysm, they don't know why. They check for steroids right away, but I never used steroids in my life. And that's understandable to go for that, because obviously steroids can do so many things. They think it could have been something from birth, something since, something from all the weightlifting. I started lifting weights when I was in junior high, so I've been lifting heavy for 20 years up to that point. So they think it could have been the repetition of doing all this working out. So they don't know. But I know, the reason I wrote the book, and I had all these doctors telling me that, okay, after 2 neurologists told me after 8 months, that's the most you can expect for your recovery. After 8 months, whatever you're feeling, you're stuck with that the rest of your life. Well, after 8 months, I was still doing pretty crappy. I wasn't really enjoying what was going on. I said, this can't be the way it is. I'm a very strong-willed person. I pushed myself beyond what doctors told me I was capable of doing. I started turning even to Eastern medicine. I did yoga, I did meditation, I did acupuncture. And I think all those things combined, mixed with my strong will, and it was also really to find the book's titled True Strength, because eventually all of us will have to go through this in our life. If we haven't had friends or family members that have already had some car accident, leukemia, whatever news you get that shakes up your life and puts you on a different road, I wanted people to get inspired by this and hopefully find their own true strength to push past what people and doctors and not to take away from doctors, to push past. It's still called a practice. So I just wanted people to really find a way to well, how many times as doctors you hear they say, well, it was a miracle this person survived. It was a miracle she lived. Because I think it comes down to the individual as well.
Well, I think
it took
we
me
also
3 years to feel normal again.